You're listening to the Law of Attraction Radio Network.
International success coach and noted author Constance Arnold delivers life-changing strategies through her own spiritual practices, as well as with best-selling authors and experts that she interviews. Think, Believe, and Manifest is specially designed to empower your mind and words to work for you and to bring about a life you've been dreaming of. And now, here's Constance Arnold.
Well, hello everyone, and welcome to the Law of Attraction Radio Network. And of course, I am Constance Arnold, host of the Think, Believe, and Manifest talk show. And today I am coming to you from the magnificent, awesome, wonderful Atlanta, Georgia. Guess what? I'm so grateful that you made a decision to join me from all over the world today. And I can truly say with all of the faith that's on the inside of me that I believe that your life will never be the same again. Well, how are you doing? I'm doing really great. It's a beautiful time here in Atlanta, Georgia. I have a great show for you today. I'm doing really, really well. Just enjoying life, keeping myself in a state of gratitude. And let's see, what do I have coming up? I'm going to be going on a cruise in 30 days. So I'm getting pretty excited about that. It was a gift from one of my friends. My friends are so good to me. And so I'm really, really excited about that. And guess what? If you're a woman, you understand. I'm 30 days out, but I'm going to already begin packing for that cruise. Once again, thank you so much for your emails. I love hearing from you. One lady sent me an email. If you're listening to this recording, I think your name is Romy, Romilly. I tried to respond back to you. You live in England, and you gave me an incorrect email address. So if you hear this, email me at constance@fulfillingyourpurpose.com. I would love to have you come on the show and share your experience. So speaking of experience, if you have a wonderful experience about how you manifested using universal laws or the law of attraction, I would love to hear from you. Let's see. Additionally, of course, you guys know I would love to coach you. I'm currently coaching people on 5 continents in all areas. Some people say, well, what area? I coach in business, relationships, you name it, dealing with your past, creating a new future, how to start a business, etc. So you've already heard my clients come on and share their experience. So go to my website, check out my coaching packages, and let's get started. And I think that is about it. So let's go to these quick commercials, and I'm going to be right back with my very special guest, my dear friend Peter Adams, and we're going to be talking about how to design a blueprint for your life, or how to create a blueprint to create the reality that you desire. So I want you to get out your pad, your pencil, your iPad, whatever you're going to use, and take quick notes, because, man, I know this show is going to be a game changer for you. So we're going to a commercial, then we're going to be right back.
Are you planning a motivational or training event for your company or organization? Look no further. Constance Arnold is an experienced, dynamic, and inspirational speaker and trainer. Constance has helped thousands and has a proven track record of 25 years as a keynote and leadership trainer for both private and public sector. Constance provides the latest cutting-edge breakthrough transformational principles that will align with your organization's vision. Participants will receive specific how-tos for both personal and professional empowerment. Contact Constance and partner with her to begin creating your next successful event. Her website is www.fulfillingyourpurpose.com, and email is constance@fulfillingyourpurpose.com.
Are you feeling stuck? Are you ready to live a life beyond your wildest dream? Constance Arnold is a seasoned and experienced professional licensed counselor for 25 years and a certified success life coach, and would love to partner with you to create your dreams. She's coached and trained over 10,000 clients on 5 continents and has a proven track record of success. Constance will assist you in getting a clear vision for your life and develop customized strategies, projects, and action steps to begin manifesting your dream. Contact her today at Constance@fulfillingyourpurpose.com and visit her website at fulfillingyourpurpose.com.
Okay, so I am back, and how can I introduce this man? There are so many ways. I'm going to say that he is a law of attraction expert and manifester. He is an author. He's an entrepreneur. He's a good man. He has a good heart, and he really wants to help people. He's extremely successful. He didn't want me to say that, but I think you need to know that he's not just talking, but he's walking the walk. And so we're going to be talking about how you can begin to design a blueprint for your life, or create a blueprint for the reality that you desire. So all the way from Denver, Colorado, Pete Adams, welcome back to the Law of Attraction Radio Network.
Well, Constance, thanks for having me on again. That intro is pretty over the top, so thank you so much. I'm pretty humbled by it, totally.
Well, it's nothing but the truth. I know you humbled by it, but I told him before we got started that people need to hear who he is. He didn't want me to say all that, but it's my show, right?
That's true, Constance. It is your show, so you're the boss. You run your show the way you want to. That's cool.
Okay, so let's get started, Pete, because this is a very powerful subject. When I contacted you, I said, you asked me, well, Constance, what do you think people need? And we sort of brainstormed, and we talked about how we really wanted to help people design a blueprint for their lives. And so how we're going to do this, I'm going to just sort of go through Pete's life, and then we're going to give you specifics for your life to kind of lay out what it might look like. You got to remember, everybody is different. The way Pete's life unfold is not the way mine did, or possibly the way yours will, but it's just an example of some processes that you might could use. So you ready, Pete?
Yeah, let's go, Constance.
Okay, so how did you feel when I talked about let's teach people how to design a blueprint for their life?
Constance, I thought it was an awesome idea for a show, to tell you the truth. Everyone wants something better, and it's natural for all of us. And everyone's kind of looking like, well, I know what I desire, but how do I get from where I'm at to where I want to be? And when you came up with the idea of the Blueprint Show, I thought it was just fantastic to just walk the listeners through how to go from where you're at to where you want to be. And today's show, we're going to teach you guys just that.
Yeah. And there are universal laws that are fixed and established. So some of these laws, like changing what you think or getting clear about what you want, those laws work for anybody who will work them, right, Pete?
Oh, Constance, absolutely. That's the biggest thing. It's, what works for Constance Arnold, what works for Pete Adams, what works for anyone else who's had success working with the law of attraction is the fact that these laws work for every single person on the planet. And it's really just up to each one of us to acknowledge that fact, use the information, and practice what we're going to be telling you today, and you will get those results. I mean, it works for me, it works for everyone, and it works all the time. It's always running. It's not like something you need to turn on or turn off. It's always there, and it's waiting for you to wake up to the fact and basically take charge of your life.
Yeah, and just before I forget, Pete's going to offer free audiobook and ebook version of Visualization to listeners. How gracious and generous of you to do that.
Oh, thanks so much, Constance. The biggest thing is, I know I get a lot of people recently signing up through our website, and a lot of them haven't read my book. So, it's just like, I wrote that book to help everyone in the world right now and all those to come later on. So why wouldn't I share it? It would just makes me feel good. And when I get those emails from listeners saying, how much the book has helped them and how they've changed their lives, I get fired up. Honestly, just makes me feel great.
Well, Pete, it don't take much to get you fired up. You're pretty over the top anyway, but anyway, that's what Robin, your wife, said. I'm just repeating what she said. But you see how generous and kind this man is. So he's going to give you his website information at the end. So let's get rolling. I looked up the word design or blueprint, and blueprint means a plan, a drawing, a sketch, a layout, a representation of what you desire. So Pete, I'm going to just sort of ask you some questions about your life so listeners can kind of see what your blueprint was for your success, and then we're going to teach listeners on the second half how they can create their own. So Pete, we know that you were like working at this hospital and you were bored and frustrated and you knew there was more. So what were you feeling and how did you move away from that job? Because we know a lot of listeners now like, wow, I want to design another job for myself. So kind of talk about that a little bit.
Sure, I'd love to, Constance. It was funny when we thought about these questions. I had to go back in time, basically, in my life, and it's this is probably back around 15 years now, right around that time frame, and to look at where I was and to where I am now, it's awesome. It truly is. But where I was at before I started really working with the law of attraction, I didn't even know what the law of attraction was, to tell you the truth. But anyways, I was in a job I absolutely hated, and I felt like I was stuck. I was in a job I didn't like, but it was close to home, and I didn't have to sell my house and move, so I just stayed with it. And it was almost like every single day it was getting worse. It just felt worse. It wasn't like, it was just my perception. The job really didn't change every single day, but how it was making me feel when I was going in it made me feel like worse and worse every single day. And I just knew, I'm like, there's got to be something more than this. And I just kind of put it out to spirit. I'm like, hey, I need some help here. I don't know what I should be doing. I know I hate what I'm doing right now, and it's not doing anything for me. It's not paying me enough money to ignore the fact that I'm not liking what I'm doing in my profession. And one of the things I did was I was down at the beach, and I just meditated, and I just asked Spirit. I'm like, hey, what should I be doing? And what was kind of miraculous is I had this vision that kind of played in my head, and it showed me being a real estate broker, and I was doing all this work with charity. And at the time, I had a license as a real estate salesperson, but it was just something I picked up on the side to help me with my real estate investment company that I had that I was doing part time. And I had been working with my wife Robin at Habitat for Humanity, so we just got a real charge out of working with Habitat and helping other people. And so this vision came through, and it was like a movie. And I have no idea how long it lasted when I was in meditation, but when I came out of it, I had this massive feeling of joy, and I had tears, I'd been crying, and I didn't even know it. And all of a sudden, I'm like, wow, that's pretty powerful, beyond words. And so I kind of started thinking about that, and that, all of a sudden, it was kind of like lighting the way for me to leave the hospital.
Okay, and and what I want to say, the principle there is that Pete was frustrated. How many of y'all been there and done that? I got my hand up. And he cried out to a higher consciousness or to God or to spirit saying, what do I do next? And notice what he did. He got still. Now, maybe you won't have the experience that Pete had. I know I didn't. But if you're still, some ideas will begin to drop down on the inside of you as to what your next step should be. So I want to say, Pete, that you cried out to God or to Spirit. You made a decision to be still, and then you got an idea about real estate. So you left the hospital and you moved to real estate. So were you successful at first? Did you make $1 million at first, or what was that like for you?
Well, Constance, it was quite amazing, to tell you the truth. The I decided to where I already had my salesperson's license. My license was coming up for renewal. So what I did was I actually, if I took an extra, I forget how many extra hours of classroom, I could take the broker's exam and then go work for myself. So what I decided to do was take the exam, and what happened was I passed the exam successfully. I opened up a real estate brokerage company on my own, and I started selling real estate on the side while I still worked at the hospital. And what happened, this is so mind-boggling because we didn't talk about this yet, but at the time I had been downsized from a different job before I worked at the hospital, where I made a heck of a lot more money. And I was like getting crushed with debt. It was just a miserable place. So that kind of set the table for what was to come next. And so I started selling real estate on the side. And in one weekend, I had 3 deals go under contract. And this is about, probably not even 6 weeks after I opened the company. And I was looking to make, and I did make over, in 3 days, more than I would have made in over 6 months at my job at the hospital that was salary based. And my wife Robin just said, she just said, Pete, you can't afford to work there anymore. And I was just like, that was music to my ears because I hated working there. And so right off the bat, I got those 3 deals closed. I had a boatload of commission money, and we also had a rental property that we decided to sell to one of our tenants, which had a monster amount of appreciation in it that we hadn't really even been paying attention to it. So, and honestly, and it seemed like a flash in the pan. It really took, I probably worked in this stuff during my hour of power for about 2 years, but when it did manifest, my life changed within 60 days. Like, you can't even imagine. I went from being having a job I hated to becoming a real estate broker, opening a brokerage firm, selling real estate, and it was just like, all of a sudden, Spirit was like, hey, you listen to me, and look how good it is. And my life went from, I went from being broke and miserable to feeling absolutely awesome. And I was out of debt. It was nothing short of a miracle. It was a miracle to me. It wasn't like parting the sea, but at the time, to go from where I was to where I was later in less than 60 days was just absolutely incredible, Constance.
Well, let me just share with listeners the principles wrapped up in what he said. Number one, he got still, he heard from Spirit, then he took action. He took action, and he was still working on his job, but he was doing real estate on the side. He upgraded his skills. That means he had to take a class. I'm sure you had to study, Pete. He went from just being an agent to a broker, and then he had to take the action steps of opening up a company. These are all action steps. I'm sure that it wasn't, that maybe he got some yeses or some nos. But I just want to reiterate with listeners to just begin taking steps. If you're on a job or whatever you want your new blueprint to be, you need to be still and begin to take baby step or quantum leap action toward what you desire. And things can happen for you quickly.
Constance, that was so great because I think the real big piece there that you keyed in on was taking action. Because if I just had basically, God, Spirit, same thing, basically said, hey, this is what you should be doing. And as soon as I started doing that, everything changed for the better for me. So, if you guys who are listening to the show, if you get some kind of insight that comes in, you need to take action, because it's spirit telling you, hey, here's the shortcut, and if you don't take any action on that information, well, nothing's going to change. And unfortunately, I think what happens is if you stop paying attention to spirit, eventually spirit stops sending you the ideas. They're just like, why waste the time on Pete if Pete's not going to do anything? That's just my feeling.
Okay, and so for listeners who might say, well, I never hear from God or you guys, and it's not like an audible voice, but it's just you get an idea, you get a hunch. You may think about uh, 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 let's just say starting a daycare, and then you turn on the TV, you see daycare, and then you look at a magazine. So it's all of those images and just a hunch. And I tell people, move on your intuition, move on that idea that you have, and as you move forward, more will be revealed to you. So like Pete said, it's taking action. So we're talking about how Pete's life sort of unfolded, and he made a decision that he was going to create a blueprint for a certain lifestyle. And so, Pete, so I know that you have manifested big things, big houses, great businesses, Ironman competition, all other kind of stuff, which you don't want me to say on the air, and I'm not going to say it. But what's your secret? Are you special? I mean, does God love you more? What would you say your secret is for really designing or that kind of blueprint and manifesting those things?
Well, Constance, number one, I am no more special than anyone else in this world. I mean, let's get that clear, because a lot of people think that it works for other people, but it won't work for me, kind of thing, and that is just absolute nonsense. And but I'll tell you guys, the true secret to success working with law of attraction, and this has been my secret, is it's a combination of consistency, perseverance, and faith. And I'll elaborate on that.
Okay.
And what I mean by consistency is, again, Constance has heard me say this a million times. I practice my hour of power every single day. And I've been doing my hour of power now, and I probably began 15 years ago, and I have not missed a day doing my hour of power. For me, doing my hour of power, which is my consistency piece, I believe is probably the greatest reason that I have had success with manifesting things I'm working on. Things I want to manifest, I have manifested them. That's why I manifested so many of them. I was able to write a book. And if you will be consistent and do your piece of the mission, basically, you're going to get the same success that I had, if not much greater. So, it's there waiting for you. But you need to show up and do the work. I mean, it's almost like going to the gym. Well, you can't send somebody else to go to the gym and work out for you. They're going to get in great shape. You're not going to look the same. I mean, It just doesn't work that way. Another piece for me is perseverance. And, cause, one of the things that most people give up on, and I've seen this with, a lot of people who have contacted me, and just people I've met in my life, is if they don't get immediate results, they just quit. And it's just like, it's like, I get news for you. If I could snap my fingers like boom and have everything manifested without working for it, hey, that'd be great. I'd do it if I knew how to do it. But for me, it's kind of just like, I make the commitment to whatever I'm working on. I'm going to work on whatever I desire to manifest into my experience, and I'm going to work on it until it shows up in my experience. Period. It's like, because the stuff I'm going for, it means a lot to me, and I'm gonna get it, and I'm gonna work with spirit to help me manifest into my reality. So it's just like, perseverance. I guess you could also call it, tenacity. It's just stay with it, never quit. And one of the things that's really helped me since I've had all these things happen for me is faith. I'm to the point now where I know this stuff works. It's not like I'm kind of wishy-washy on it at all. I just know it. It's like concrete. This stuff works. I've proven it time and time again, and it's easier for me to stay with it because I do know it works. So when I started in the beginning, it was kind of like, well, I'm not really sure if this stuff works or not. Excuse me, but it's I get nothing to lose, so why not?
So, Pete, let me talk about a couple of those things you said. Unwrap it. You said consistency. In the Bible, it says take a drink of water. We both got water here.
Oh, thank you. I was trying to cover that one up.
Oh no. Go ahead and take a drink of water. But when Pete said consistency, in the Bible it says seek first the kingdom of God, and all these things will be added to you. And I know I've had a couple of people write in and say, Pete, he does an hour of power. I can't do that. And that's the way Pete is made, and whatever. But the fact I can't even say that I do an hour of power every day. I probably do it most days. But I'm going to say when he says hour of power, that may mean to you your set aside 10, 15-minute time that you have set aside because for me, that's the foundation for my success. Just being quiet before God, being still so that I can hear. So, Pete, when you say hour of power, we talked about this before. It's not an hour. Describe that for people. What does that mean to you?
Sure. I call it my hour of power. And that's actually something I borrowed from a program from Anthony Robbins. He calls it his hour of power. And what I did was I kind of just tweaked it for me because he would talk about, working out for 20 minutes, reading for 20 minutes, and I feel what else he was doing for 20 minutes. But anyways, I just started working with spirit because at the beach. And it's not, for me, it might be an hour. It could be 2 hours, or it could be 15 minutes. It's not something that's like, you got to do this for 60 minutes to manifest. That's just not how it is at all. It's really about setting that time aside, sometime to get, to work, to be quiet, to work with spirit, and to do it every single day. It's not, you decide how much time it's going to take. But you got to create that time because if you don't do it every day, before you know it, you've missed 7 days. Then when you miss 7 days, you missed 3 months, and then you're starting back over again. And if you want to have success working with spirit, it's all about you. It's like, if you're serious about changing your life, well, you've got to show that you are serious about it and set aside that time to work with spirit, like Constance I do.
And so, Pete, you don't watch a lot of TV, do you? Do you watch TV at all?
I watch some, but I don't really, real world, it's like nothing really interests me on television anymore. So I do try to catch some cool stuff on like YouTube or Netflix. I try to find, unfortunately there's not a whole lot of good spiritual stuff out there, which is what I like to watch.
Yeah.
But the biggest thing, and the other thing too is if you got time to watch 3 hours of television in an evening, you got 3 hours of work in your life. I mean, come on, let's get serious, folks.
That's true. Well, speaking of work, you started many businesses and been very, very, very successful. So what would you say, or what pointers could you give to people about designing a success blueprint for their business?
Okay, well, it's like if you're already in business, it's what I would do is I basically would just take the same spiritual principles that working with any other part of your life and apply them to business. And to give a great example of that, in my life experience, my wife and I, we wanted to increase sales in one of our businesses, and so what we decided to do, which is going to seem completely off the grid to most people who are business types, but we decided to take one of the techniques from my visualization system, I call scripting. And what Robin and I did every morning, we committed to, we're going to script about increasing sales in our business and how great it feels. And that's kind of what we did. And what we did was we did that for 11 days straight, each of us. Now, on that 11th day, this is what happened. I got an email from one of our competitors offering to sell us his business. This happened. I never thought this. I never saw this coming. And it came in completely out of the blue. And I got news for you. This is not some kind of coincidence. This is a direct result of working with Spirit. And what happened was our sales didn't go up just a little bit. Our sales in that business went up by 50%, 50, from acquiring this company. And we immediately said yes, and we acquired that business. So it's like, this stuff works, well, you can't even imagine. So, use it in all aspects of your life. Use it for your health. Use it for your business. Use it for your relationships. I mean, your life can be as good as you can possibly imagine it. So, don't settle. Go for everything.
And so, Pete, what you and Robin were literally doing was you were actually creating the blueprint of what you wanted to happen in your sales.
Absolutely.
By writing out, for listeners, by writing out how they wanted it to look and feel once they had increased sales. So for listeners, whatever your business is or whatever you're thinking about, I just use me. If I desired more speaking engagements, I would write out and script out, which I do, the end result of what that would look and feel like, because what you're doing, you're living from the end. It puts you in that vibration. It gets the images in your mind. It's easy for you to visualize, and you got to speak out what you're scripting out and be grateful for it before it actually comes into your life.
Constance, you could not have said that any more perfectly. That is exactly how it works.
I'm perfect, Pete. You didn't know that. I'm just playing. but anyway.
Well, pretty close to it, I think.
Not even close to it. But so Pete, let's teach people how they can begin to create or design their own blueprint. You ready?
Sure.
Okay. So I just want to say, everybody got their own personality, their own environment, their own way of thinking. I think God deals with us according to that. And so let's see, where do you want to start? So everybody has a personal blueprint. Would you say that, Pete?
Oh, absolutely. And the biggest thing is, it's all, the blueprint is there, whether you've taken the time to create your own or not. And it's always running by default. And so, and it's basically he's running on, if you're not conscious about what you desire in your life kind of goes on, kind of appears as being automatic, and that's your blueprint running itself. And most of that's it's running on beliefs and feelings that you have about yourself and your world. And what you're seeing is a reflection of that showing up in your life. And, it's always working all the time in the subconscious. So the biggest thing is for all of us is just decide. It's like, I don't want to run the default program. I want something better. And by changing that blueprint, which is what you decide to manifest into your life, is the blueprint you need to set up yourself.
Pete, that is so good. So for listeners, somebody who has a lack or a limited mentality blueprint, that's what's happening to them.
Oh, absolutely. That's the thing. It's basically all these limiting beliefs that you have that are below the surface. That's what that blueprint is running off of. And that's what's showing up in your experience are things that just reinforce that blueprint of your limiting beliefs. One of the biggest ones for me is, this just popped in my head, Constance, which is great. It's how many times have I heard people say, well, it takes money to make money? Mm-hmm. That is the stupidest thing I've ever heard. And people have this idea that, well, I don't have money. It's so if you don't have money already, so what? You can never have money because you don't have money now? Well, thank goodness I didn't believe that, or I'd still be at the hospital miserable. That's just not how it is. But when you run from that mentality of it takes money to make money, then everything you see on the outside, it basically just affirms that as being your reality, when in fact it's a total lie. So that's an example of having your limiting beliefs run your blueprint, or basically that's the blueprint you're running. If that's clear.
That's profound. So let's just say somebody who says, I didn't know I had a blueprint, and so how can I create one? So
Okay,
go ahead and tell us
sure.
that. Hmm.
Yeah, for me, I thought about this, Constance, before when we talked about doing the next show, and I came up with the 5 steps for creating your blueprint.
Ooh, I better
And the
write
first,
this down.
yeah, okay, all right, perfect. Well, step 1 is it's decide,
Mm.
and that is decide what it is that you desire to experience in your life. And that is where you want to build your blueprint from. And the biggest thing is you need to get crystal clear. Because it's almost like we've used the analogy in different shows about having a GPS. Well, a GPS is great. But if you don't put a destination in the GPS can't help you out at all. And that's the same thing with having the blueprint. If you don't have a blueprint for where you want to go, just like your GPS, your blueprint is not going to get you there, because you're not creating a blueprint that has clear instructions for the universe to run off of to bring you what you desire. So you've got to get crystal clear about what you want. And another thing is, don't put things out there that are contradictory. Like I want to be crazy successful, but I'm afraid of success, kind of thing. I mean, make sure it's it's in alignment with what you desire. So basically, try to have everything line up in your blueprint for what you desire to manifest.
So
And
Pete,
just get clear.
another example of that would be, I want to lose weight instead of I want to become healthy and have lots of energy and vitality, because there's such a negative connotation with losing weight. So I think the phrasing of that, like what you just said, putting it out there is important.
Oh,
Yeah.
exactly, Constance. That's one's positive and one's negative, and line it all up with the positivity. Where, it's like rather than losing weight, it sounds like a job, but it's like
Yeah.
I have massive health and vitality. I mean, that's so much easier to feel good about.
Okay. What's another step?
I think a big piece to, once you decide what it is you desire to have in your life, you need to know why you want it. I mean, to me, the why is just as important as the what, which is what you say that you desire, because if you're not passionate about why you want to have whatever you desire, long story short, you're not gonna stay with it. You're not gonna stick with it until it manifests for you. Because if you don't have passion for it, when times get tough, some days you're gonna wake up and you're not gonna feel like doing your hour power. And if you're not passionate about what you desire, you might just roll over and go back to bed. Whereas if you're passionate about it, you're gonna get up, you're gonna do your hour power because it's what you want and you want it bad.
And so, Pete, let me inject something here. So on those bad days for you, or difficult days for you, because your why was so big, that's what kept you going and doing your hour of power.
Oh, absolutely, Constance.
Okay. I wanted to
Because
inject that so that people could see that.
oh yeah, I think the best analogy I can give anyone is, just imagine that you're on the back of a fishing boat and you got a big marlin on your fishing line. Well, think of your hour of power as being turning the reel. Every time you turn that reel, the fish is getting closer to the boat. But if you stop turning that reel, the fish is just going to run in the opposite direction. So if you want to get that fish on the boat, which is your dream manifesting, you need to turn that reel. You need to bring it in, because the fish is not going to swim to the boat and jump in. That's just how it works.
That's good. What's step number 3, Pete?
Another one is, excuse me, Constance, it's got to be believable to you. So whatever you desire, maybe I'm just going to make this up. Maybe you say, I want to be the richest lady in the world. And, well, it might be a little bit of a stretch if you're like right now you're suffering some financial challenges. And it may seem like, fantasy land. Well, it's real hard to get a feeling around something you don't believe to be true. So try to make whatever it is that you're going after, it's believable to you, so you can get the feeling that it can be true and that it is true, so that you have that feeling that it's already done, which will bring it into your experience that much quicker.
Oh, that's good. That's really good. And what's number 4? 4 or 5?
I hope I get this right. Yeah, number 4 is what does it look like to you in your mind? What is the end result? So, let's say your goal is to get in awesome shape. Well, what does your body look like to you as when it's done? Can you see yourself with that awesome bod? And once you can see it in your mind and you know how good it feels, you're over halfway there.
Pete, that's big. So listeners see it in their mind. So with all of these steps that Pete is sharing with you helps you to create your own personal blueprint. So for people who want a different job, begin to see it in their mind. Is that what they do, Pete? And feel it.
Oh,
and feel it from
absolutely.
the end.
Right. And that's the thing. It's like when you get in your, one of the techniques I use every single day is creative visualization. And, live it in your mind's eye. I mean, get right into that experience. It's not like, someday. It's like, it's now, it's there. And, live the life that you desire right now in your mind and with great, and having massive feeling for how good it feels. And I'm telling you, it's going to show up in your reality. It has for me, and it will. It's done, Constance has done the same thing, and it works.
And so, Pete, not someday, but now. What does it feel like now in their lives? I think that's important.
Absolutely. Well, the biggest thing, too, is you don't need to wait for it to show up to feel good about it. You can get into that ideal job or whatever it is. Excuse me, from where you're at, where you're at right now. And
I got you.
Having that, and it's like, honestly, that feeling and seeing it as being in the now it's like hitting a hyperspace button on an old game from the arcades. It's just like, boom. It's like, it's there. It shows up, and it's not like, it shows up it'll show up so quick in your experience, you're going to be sitting back and your head's going to be spinning. That's just how it's worked for me. And it'll work for you.
Let me put a little Bible in here. The Bible says faith is now. And so if it's not now, it's not faith. Hope is in the future. So if you're in faith, which is what Pete shared at the beginning, you're living that dream now, even though in your current circumstances, it doesn't look like anything has changed. In the spirit and in your mind, you have it now. Is that right, Pete?
Oh, absolutely, Constance. The biggest thing is like that word hope is so weak. We shouldn't even have a word like that, because hope is just like, well, I hope it works. Well, a much better thing to do is just like, it did work. It's done. Much better way to do it.
Okay. And what's the last thing that people can do?
Well, the biggest thing is, we started talking about this, is what does that feel like to you? So how does it feel to have this ideal life? Put that with the visualization of, see the image of it already being done and how good it feels, because that feeling is a total shortcut to success. Totally.
Well, that's so powerful for people to begin to, I got so many questions going in my mind. They're so powerful for people who can begin to create blueprints in their lives. And so I sometimes start with a daily blueprint where today I want to exercise, I want to be joyful, I want to have my hour of power. So you just sort of lay it out. So that it's like a plan or a design or a sketch in your mind. So, Pete, what would you say to listeners who say, well, I've tried that and I thought I had a blueprint, but it doesn't look like it's working for me in my day-to-day life. What would you say to somebody about that?
Well, the first thing I would say is stay with it, because it's,
Yeah.
even though it doesn't appear to be working, if you're practicing these techniques, excuse me, believe me, it's working. You just don't see it yet. So stay with it until it shows up, because for me, when the big stuff happens, a second before it happens, everything looks exactly the same,
Oh,
and
that's
then it's just
powerful.
like, oh, then it's like a volcano erupting. It's amazing.
Yeah, and and I want to say this that happened to me. I was just sharing with a client today that before I start speaking, I had my stuff prepared and I was ready to go, and it didn't look like anything was changing, and then boom, I spoke at a conference, and the lady came to me and she said, "Boy, do I have some money for you?" And boy, did I need some money, Pete. At that time. And so Pete is so right. That's a profound principle to just stick with it, because the day before it doesn't look like anything is happening.
Oh, it's that's a great story, Constance, and yeah, that's just how it is. I mean, look at my own experience. I was up to my ears in debt, and then 6 days later, it's all gone. It's like, how did that even happen? It's just amazing. So, you know, you know, I don't know when for everyone who's listening to the show, it's like, I don't know how long it's going to take for your miracle to show up. But when it does show up, it's not going to like say, oh, on next Thursday it's coming. It's just going to show up.
Yeah. And so what about folk who say, wow, Pete and Constance, y'all living a good life. I could tell you some stories about what it took for me to get here, but we don't have time for that. Y'all living a good life, and I'm a working dad. I got three children. I have baseball practice. I don't have time to create and implement a personal blueprint. What would you say to them, Pete?
I would say you're, in a nutshell, you couldn't be any more wrong. You do have the time. You're just deciding where you want to spend it.
Ooh,
So, and take those things, all those things that you're doing right now, you're doing to help your children. That's awesome. I totally respect that. Here's the other thing too, right? It's like, make the time, because a major part of your success can be the feeling that how much better of a life you're going to be able to provide your children now and in the future by being more successful, from taking the time out of your day to work with spirit to manifest what you desire. Otherwise, you're going to be, it's 18 years from now, it's going to be the same thing. Your life is going to be, you've already just missed 18 years of enjoyment that you missed because you didn't do what Constance and I are talking about. And it'll show up later in your life, but hey, why wait? The good, you deserve the good stuff now, and
yeah.
it's up to you to manifest it.
Well, and when we talk about creating a personal blueprint, I thought that what you said, Pete, earlier, the fact that if you don't create one, it's going to be running on that old program of lack and maybe not enough, or I can't do that, because life doesn't happen to you. Your blueprint happens through you. And
Ooh,
so
that's
so
good.
yeah, so your blueprint is happening through all of your stuff. So it's important that people make a decision that they're going to have a different blueprint.
Absolutely. And, and the most, I know that everyone who's listening to the show, you don't listen to the show just for the heck of it. You listen to the show because you're looking to get something new in your life. You're looking for a download from spirit, as Constance would say, to how do I go from where I'm at to where I want to be, and this is how you do it. I mean, and it's like you got to put the time into it. It's just if your success is not important to you, well, it's not important to anybody. I mean, that's just how it is.
And what else do you want to share with listeners about creating a solid blueprint for success? Can you
I
think of anything?
I think probably the biggest thing would be it's like is takes your success seriously. Whatever you desire to have in your life, you can get it. You can have it. If you can see it, the spirit's telling you that it can be part of your reality. And and go for it. I mean, there's nothing you cannot be, do, or have in this experience, but it's up to you to decide what it is you desire to be, do, or have, and manifest it. I mean, the techniques that you learn in my book that I'm going to give you guys for free. If you do just what I laid out, you're going to get the same results I did. I just happen to go for different things, but everyone's got their own goals and their own idea of what success is, and everyone's got their own special blueprint. And it's you're here to live that kind of live an amazing life, and it's up to you. I mean, you can do it. Trust me. I say that 1,000 times, but I did it. It works for everybody if they'll do it. I mean,
And
Constance
so,
has been. Yeah, go ahead.
so perseverance. I mean, during those hard times, during those times where you could have been discouraged. I know sometimes circumstances can be so glaring and overwhelming. What would you say to people about that?
You know what, Constance? That's a great point you just brought up because it just brought a thought into my head.
Hmm.
And that is, it's like sometimes it looks like it is not working at all. It looks completely the opposite.
Yeah.
It's like you're doing like, excuse me, I'm seeing myself wealthy, and then they're shutting the power off. Oh, I'm seeing myself in abundance, and they're repossessing my car. And then, so if you get caught up in the appearances of what's on the surface, you can really lose track of
Yeah.
the goal. But what's so funny is, the day they're towing your car away because they've repossessed it, that might be the same day that you just won the lottery.
Yeah.
So, and it's just like, and who could ever imagine it? It's like, wow, what a great story. Yeah, there it was. They were repoing my car, and bam, I won the lottery. Or I got this new job that, I'm making 5 times what I was making before. And it's just like, I mean, miracles happen every day. And, unfortunately, the only things you hear on the television said, basically, is how bad the world is. I wish there was this radio station that would, or a news station would come on and say, hey, here's all the cool stuff that happened in the world today, just so you can be inspired. Because there's a lot more good happening than bad. You just don't, no one's just telling you about it, unfortunately.
Well, Peter, when you shared that, I thought of Steve Harvey, who was sleeping in his car for, I think he said a couple of years, and how, frustrating that was, obviously, but how he got his big break. And even Dooley, who was in The Secret, how he was just frustrated. Is anything going to happen? He was sending out his notes. Mike Dooley, who was in The Secret, he was sending out his notes to the universe. He had no idea that Rhonda Byrne and her sister had been receiving those notes. And so he said just a week prior to him getting an invitation from Rhonda Byrne to be in The Secret, he was like in despair because he was like, it doesn't look like anything is happening. And I just want to reiterate to listeners what Pete said is so powerful. These are universal laws. If you are consistent and persevere, they have to work.
Wow. that was a great analogy about with Mike Dooley with The Secret, because that's so spot on. It's like right before Rhonda gave him the call, or I don't know how she contacted him. Excuse me.
Yeah.
But it was like he was at that point of like just about to give up, and then wham, the monster payday came in, and Mike Dooley's got some great stuff. I mean,
he does.
Those notes from the universe that come in every day, they're just like
Powerful.
awesome. They're just great stuff.
And Pete, my point is, what if he had stopped? What if he had said, this stuff isn't working? What if I had said, oh, wow, I've been creating these speaking modules and ain't nobody hiring me? Because when she called me for the big 6-figure job, I had to be ready to rock and roll. She said, can you start next week? I mean, I had my stuff prepared. So I want to say to listeners, while you're working on your blueprint for success, or your blueprint for health or wealth or whatever it is, be consistent. Like we said, just follow those steps that Pete gave, and never, ever stop. Because like Pete said, your miracle is right around the corner.
Oh, Constance, that was the piece you just nailed was about being prepared.
Yeah.
You knew that was coming, that speaking was coming. And when the opportunity knocked on your door, you could answer it and you were ready. Rather than, let me get back to you because I don't have anything written yet. No, you were ready to go because you knew it was going to happen. And that's
ready to rock and roll. This is powerful, I tell you. So, Pete, tell people, I can't believe our hour is gone. Tell people how they can get your free ebook and e-version of Visual Festation. How do they get that?
Sure. Actually, you can, if you want to listen to the audiobook, it's available out on YouTube, and I guess you call the channel is Visual Festation. So you can listen to the book out there, and we have it available free in both English and also in Spanish. And if you'd like a copy of the ebook, either in English or Spanish or both, it's cool with me. Just email me. You can contact me at our website is peterdadams.com. The D is as in David or Delta, whatever's easier. It's just my name. And just send me an email and contact us, and we'll just email you the book. No problem at all. And,
wow.
It'll be great.
I'm going to listen to this again and again because, when you're in the middle of doing a show, you don't know everything that was said, but I just felt the spirit of this was so powerful and life-changing. So, Pete, thank you so much.
Oh, my pleasure. I'm sorry. I had like a little dry throat today, but
no, that doesn't matter. We heard what you said, and that's what matters. And so I love and appreciate you and Robin. I'm going to listen to this again and again myself. So, folks, I want you to listen to this. Tell your friends about it. Make sure you go to his website to receive these wonderful, free, life-changing gifts that he's sharing with the world. And as I say every week, you may not know it or feel it, but you are surrounded by the love of God. And of course, you know that I love and adore you. And I just want you to say and think with me, something good is going to happen to me and through me today. Make it a great week.
Thank you for listening to Think, Believe, and Manifest. Constance Arnold will be back next week with another great show just for you. For more information, please visit fulfillingyourpurpose.com.
Let's go! The new Macy's Backstage at Solomon Pond Mall just opened.
And it's right inside Macy's on the first floor.
Incredible low prices.
We don't even need coupons.
And you never know what you'll find.
Well, that's what the thrill of the hunt is all about.
Great brands, fashion for everyone.
Home decor, electronics, toys.
And new finds arrive every week.
So if you see it, buy it before it's gone.
Who knew shopping could be this exciting?
Macy's Backstage, now open on the first floor inside Macy's Solomon Pond Mall. Visit macy'sbackstage.com for details.
Let's go! The new Macy's Backstage at Solomon Pond Mall just opened.
And it's right inside Macy's on the first floor.
Incredible low prices.
We don't even need coupons.
And you never know what you'll find.
Well, that's what the thrill of the hunt is all about.
Great brands, fashion for everyone.
Home decor, electronics, toys.
And new finds arrive every week.
So if you see it, buy it before it's gone.
Who knew shopping could be this exciting?
Macy's Backstage, now open on the first floor inside Macy's Solomon Pond Mall. Visit Macy'sBackstage.com for details.